Great. Hello, my name is Julia Colbert, and I'm the program manager for the ASU Project Cities program. And I have one of the EPIC students with me here today who worked on the town of Clarkdale's Bitter Creek Industrial Park transportation design project this semester. She had a few other group members that worked with her, but as she is the team lead, she will be presenting on their initial background and ideas and things today. For some context for the class, it's called EPICS, which is Engineering Projects and Community Service. So she is a first year, or this project lead is a first year engineering student at ASU. And typically an EPICS project goes for 3 semesters. And so since this is more of a 1-semester project, her and her group mates did a lot of initial research and idea generation and those sorts of things for the problem proposed by the town of Clarkdale. So towards the end, some of their recommendations might include stuff like in the future we could do this or those sorts of things. So that's my context. I will be letting Alexandra, who can introduce herself in a minute, do a lot more of the talking today. But the way that we'll do this presentation is we'll have it kind of be a Q&A style panel. So I'll ask her to describe particular parts of the project. She'll respond. I might interject with other questions as well. So it's definitely more of an informal presentation to make sure that the group's kind of ideas and background and stuff gets communicated to the town. So with that, Alexandra, I'll have you introduce yourself. Just say your first name, last name, your year at ASU, and maybe why you signed up to be in this project initially.
Okay. Hi, my name is Alexandra Gauthier. I am a freshman at ASU. My major is environmental engineering, and I initially chose this project because it seemed like an interesting concept, and I was really just wanted to see how it would go in the future.
Very cool. Thank you. So to start us off, can you describe the community partner that you worked with? I know you had to kind of get a sense for what your partner was like. So yeah, describe what what information you have about the town.
So from what we gathered, Clarkdale is very much a historical town. It was founded, William A. Clark back in like 1912 started up a Union Verde copper company. So it was mainly a mining town. So it had a lot of historical value. And we realized that that was one of the main points about it. So that was something that we.
Yes, definitely a historic copper mining area. So kind of connected to that, can you describe the needs so far? So I know I came in and talked to you a little bit about the town. There are some emails that Ruth Mayday, who was the town's community development department director and now is the assistant town manager, shared a little bit with you. So can you describe the needs maybe in particular in reference to the Bitter Creek Industrial Park?
So in terms of the Bitter Creek Industrial Park, with the town being relatively historical, it's kind of small and compacted. And they were hoping to, I guess, expand their community with utilizing the park in a sense, giving it, I guess, more features, more textures, and more interactions for the entire community.
Mhm. Yeah, more access to housing, revitalizing it. And so one of the things that was proposed to the students was this road design, which Alexandra will get into later. But yes, I think expanding the ability of the town to use that area. So then could you describe, I know a part of the EPICS class that the students go through is learning how to use a design thinking framework. And part of design thinking is really figuring out who your users are and what their experiences are to be able to inform project design, which can be time consuming. So kudos to them for doing so much over a short semester. Based on you and your group's research, can you describe a few of the stakeholders that you were able to identify and then maybe some of the ways that they might be impacted by this type of project?
Yeah. So one of the main stakeholders was the town of Clarkdale itself.
Mhm.
They needed a cohesive transportation design and a well-maintained transportation infrastructure. Another one would be the Bent River Machine. They were looking for easy traversable roads so they could transport their items back and forth. Another one would be the railroad system. I believe it's the Verde Canyon Railroad, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they were looking to expand their excursion and freight trains operations, so we had to take that into consideration as well, along with other stakeholders such as Cannon Trust, Salman Moningini Investments, Family Trust. They just wanted to ensure that the project would not have any negative impacts because I do believe that they are private companies.
Yeah, so they might own different parts of the kind of big parcel of land, those sorts of things. Yes, definitely. Great. So then the exciting part, can you describe from your group's perspective the kind of problem statement, or otherwise known as the project objective for this project?
From what we gathered based off of our research, taking into considerations all of the stakeholders' needs and the town's needs itself, it looked like you were in need of an effective transportation design plan for the park itself to kind of interconnect it with the community.
Yes, and specifically where that kind of what I talked to them about in class one day, we did like a big Google Maps overview, and we used some drone footage from the previous town mayor to look at that area where there's the bridge, and then the bridge connects to kind of the very hilly area of the park. So kind of hyper focusing in one area of it, but since these are engineers, they always like designing everything. So they ended up having more ideas than that, but definitely like the transportation aspect of it. Great. And then part of their project process is learning as first year students is figuring out different types of analyses that you can do, such as SWOT analyses, or learning how to make Gantt charts and learning how to do pastel analyses. So I believe this group chose to do a pastel analysis. Can you tell me a little bit about what your group found and sort of if you felt this analysis was helpful in coming up with some potential ideas and solutions?
In terms of potential ideas, one of the main things we focused on was the existing bridge. We were trying to find a way to see if we could conserve it instead of tearing it down. We found that the bridge design that you guys currently have, it is known as I think it's a beam design. And I guess for the idea or future aspects that you want for the town, the best idea would be to renovate that into a truss bridge. That way it could be able to hold more weight for the transportations for constructions and later on people trying to get back and forth between the construction parks. That was one of the ideas that we had. Another one was in terms of the road design itself, due to the, I want to say, geographic layout of
Yeah,
Clarkdale. It's a bit
topographic. Yeah.
hilly and bumpy. So we were trying to figure out what road designs work best for that. And we came to the conclusion that something like either a serpentine road that you would see a lot in Spain would be best for it due to its, I guess, hilly nature. It'd be able to curve along with it as long as the train tracks that already exist.
Great, thank you. And then in coming up with those solutions and doing that kind of social context pastel analysis, which stands for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental, were there any particular aspects of that you felt the town should pay attention to kind of beyond the engineering parts? Are there any like economic, social, legal, or any things like that, things that should be kind of kept top of mind for the town as they're figuring out what to do next with this area?
I think in terms of that, the main thing that we focus on was, I guess, the mixture that would be used for the road designs. In terms of the environmental aspect, we found out that a mix of sand, asphalt, and gravel would be the best in terms of adaptability and sustainability because it is a very hot climate.
Yeah, definitely. So we talked a lot about with the students kind of how a lot of these students also are not from Arizona initially. So this project was an interesting introduction to them for a new climate. A lot of them are international students or coming from Florida, like where Alexandra lives when she's not in school at ASU. So I really posed questions to them about if you're in a really kind of hot, arid environment that doesn't necessarily have crazy extremes, but is more extreme in kind of a humidity way than other places, what could that do? So some of the students came back with interesting ideas, like she said, about maybe having a mix of asphalt and gravel, or I think I remember you discussing having parts of the road be compacted dirt and then parts of it be gravel or something like that. So you don't necessarily, or the town doesn't necessarily have to feel they only have to do one particular thing. And this all depends on zoning and codes and making sure you're up to that. But I'm really kind of getting some ideas out there that there could be different ways to play with how the road is paved. Great. And then, so in addition to the types of mixtures or asphalt ever used for developing the road, as well as the so the serpentine layout that is recommended by the road, were there any other initial ideas or concepts that your group was able to come up with, maybe particularly due to all the different interests and things of people in the group?
I think one of the main things we kind of focused on was the entire map layout.
Mhm.
Um, we were thinking of the idea where it would start off with the bridge and then eventually it would split into two different directions, kind of like a roundabout. And then
Okay.
there would be different access to different serpentine layouts to access different parts of the park.
Great, very cool. I think that sounds exciting. And then I know that one of your group members, or one or two, were computer science majors. So if you can't speak to this part of it, no worries. So one of them I know is doing a little bit of research on LiDAR technology to figure out how to map out how it might be designed over time. Do you have anything else to add to that or some perspective? If not, it's okay, but if so, that would be great.
I know that he mentioned two types of LiDAR for that. That would be the topographic and the bathymetric. But I
Mhm.
think for the distance of the land, I think it would be better to use the topographic LiDAR. I remember he
Mhm.
did mention that.
Mhm. Yeah, so making sure, staying open to technology, and that could be
Yeah.
interesting for grants, those sorts of things. Great. So thank you for providing a good project overview. Before I have you share kind of your group's final recommendations, do you have any other project information or anything else that you'd like to share with the town about the
That
project
is
background?
everything.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Just want to make sure there is nothing else. So yeah, can you maybe sum up your group's recommendations in one or two sentences? What do you think they should do next?
I think the best solution is just to, I think, continue to explore the transportation plannings in terms of using LiDAR. I think that would be very beneficial for the town itself, for both present and future generations, along with, I guess, just maintaining the aspect of, I guess, keeping it sustainable as well as usable in terms of not just for the construction itself, but for the town as well, like after construction is completely finished.
Definitely. And I liked your roundabout idea. So maybe it's not just that one part of a road, but it branches off into other things to, yeah, make it so it's
Yes,
more usable over time, like you said.
yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Alexandra, for representing your group today, and great work this semester. If the town has any questions, just reach out to me and I can connect you to the students. Otherwise, we are looking forward to sharing their write-up with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.